Alright, I just pulled the motor. I have it on a stand right here in the cockpit. So, and it's a 100-pound motor, 105, 106 pounds, something like that. I can wrestle it out myself pretty easy. I wouldn't want to keep doing it. I certainly wouldn't want to do it when we're afloat and things are happening, but steady, secure, land-based, it seems to be okay. So what I'm going to do next, this guy is temporary held in here. I'm going to do some fillets all the way around with thickened epoxy to get this guy to stay right where he is, and then after that cures, pull all these temporary pieces off. I got this guy as the template for this piece. It'll go like that. So this will be another buoyancy chamber. I got that one and that one, and this will be another buoyancy chamber underneath, and drill some drain holes if water gets up onto that. And then I got to drill drain holes on these also if water gets in there, go off here into there and down and out. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Baldwin's plans are pretty spot on. Obviously you got to make them work with the engine you have, and if you did things like install this vertically and not at a little bit of a slant, it would work even better for you. Alright, a couple things. I didn't mention that I was toying with the idea of lowering the height here so that the prop is farther down into the water. On James's plans, he has this 8.5 inches above, but because of the slope, I got it's 9 inches above on this side and 8.5 inches above on the other side. So I was thinking maybe trying to get it lower, but James is the expert on this, and he says that that's, in his experience, the best distance, so I'm just going to go with that. I was kind of getting greedy, trying to get as much as I can into the water there, but there's a reason. So, and a view from above here. So that should hold it in place. Now that when that cures, I can pull the temporary part out, and that should stay in place secure enough to do the final fiberglassing in. This is what it looks like after the thickened epoxy fillets are put in. I got to finish up where I couldn't reach because of the screws and the supports, and then I've got 5 layers gonna go here. Got those cut out. Got 5 more layers gonna go here, 5 here, in each of the corners. So, and 5 coats all along the bottom and both sides. Both sides. Alright, we got this test fit like that. For that front buoyancy chamber, it's got to be tilted down 5.5 inches below, and then just he doesn't give a measurement up here, but something. So let's go cut the wood to fit. Alright, she's fitted in place. Coat this piece in unthickened epoxy, both sides, all the edges and corners, and then put her in place. I wanted to show how this was done here. I put a couple of cleats on this side. Actually made some cleats for this side, but then realized they weren't really necessary. And then this sits on those to get that height cracked. And then just sits right in. And she's fiberglassed in. This is going to get probably wetter than any of this other wood that's on there. So what I did for this, couple layers of 10-ounce cloth around the whole thing. I had it overlap about 4 inches all the way. Well, let that cure and then dry fit yet again, and make sure everything's good. And then basically the entire inside with the mount is done. Just need to sand it and make it pretty and paint it, and then build the hatch. Alright, I'm working on the shim I was going to just cut a piece and have it so I could take it off, but I decided to make it permanent. So what I did, I got a piece of this is fiberglass that I cut off when I redid the front hatch. It's just an extra piece from up there. So I got this epoxied in right now. It's held in place by screws at the moment. It's epoxied in, and then I dry fit the engine on there, and it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now, this is going to cure. I'll take out those screws. I'll sand this at an angle a little bit, then fill in below with epoxy, thickened epoxy. Just use a straight edge across to make a smooth taper. That's the plan. Alright, well, here's what happens when you work too fast. I pulled out my pre-measured cup with 3 pumps of resin in it. I had started with thinking I was going to use one that had 6 in it, and then I thought I don't need that much, so I used the one that has 3. So going back and forth on deciding how much to use, I said, oh, screw it, I'll use the 3, it should be enough. And I pulled it out, mixed in my 406, applied it, made this really nice, very nice tapered, and I forgot to put the hardener in. This was yesterday, so I've been waiting for it to cure, and to no avail. Alright, behind a day on this one. Alright, so I cleaned up my gaff here, and let me go back and explain what I'm doing here. The shaft, when I mounted the board, was tilted back too far, and the reason for that my motor mount, the board, is perfectly level, or plumb, or is vertical, but the taping here was thick enough that caused it to go back too far, and I ground it down at an angle so it's the thickness here. And then what I was doing with that epoxy, thickened epoxy, is just filling in those voids. I took a straight edge and just made it nice and smooth, so I had that taper. And I had dry fit it with this before, and it made it as vertical as it should be. I talked to James Baldwin, the guy that designed this whole outfit here, about what angle it should be, so this makes it what he said, what he was recommending. Alright, pardon the fan noise, but it's a hot day. I got it blowing through. Got the front opened up, fans blowing through. I turned this one off at least. So we are building the frame for the lid. This is the 3-inch that he calls for. This I have oversized so I can cut the arch the way I want, front and back. And then I dry fit getting this in and out, and tipped forward. And I didn't have to cut this guy's still got a millimeter, and it's got a little give to it, so when it comes time to tip it forward and release it, it goes. I'm going to have to do some fiberglass up top here. I did not need to go as far back as the plans said, and we got room clearance this way going down, and still got room to turn. So this back, and then I already taken it in and out with this assembly in place. So that's, I was thinking maybe that was clearance to get this out, but I don't need it. You kind of tilt it forward a little bit and pull it out at an angle. So I've got the frame in the basement, getting some epoxy and probably a little bit of fiberglass on it, and I've just ground away the sides here, so I can tie in put a fillet in and just do a little bit of fiberglass to secure it down. I'm really tired of sanding. Alright, we're in the basement. We got the frame for the new Lazarette locker lid. And then I also have these. I have 4 through hulls going into the boat, and I made some backing out of 3/4 marine ply. I was gonna buy some, some of that specialty stuff, but the ones I removed were plywood, and they're 45 years old, and I doubt they were marine grade. I mean, no voids or anything. And then I'm gonna be right now putting unthickened epoxy over all of this, a few coats, so that'll last longer than me. Alright, so far 1 layer of unthickened epoxy, and it has you can see a little bit of a reddish tint to it, and that's because my 206 hardener is up on the top of the boat. I have this 205 in the basement, and it's kind of old. And I guess when it gets old, it gets that red. That's what that is there. It gets a red tint to it, but according to West System, it doesn't affect the performance. So all this stuff is going to be painted anyway, so I don't care if it's got a tint to it. All right, this is epoxied in place. Still got screws in it. Epoxy's still wet. This distance here is 1/2 inch, and that's what the cover comes down, or no, 1/2 inch and a half. The cover comes down 1.5 inches all the way around, so I don't have to mess with this here when building the cover. The cover's only 1/2 inch deep on the overlap, so this is all going to work out real well. I gotta build it, but I'm gonna fiberglass this connection all the way around. This is epoxied. There's a bigger piece that's epoxied to the front, so that's pretty secure. I may just fill that with thickened epoxy and not worry about fiberglassing. And we got some fiberglass along the outside of both sides and along the back here. I got more. I'm going to do a piece like that along both of these, but I don't have it in me today. So this is starting the construction of the lid for the Lazarette motor well. I've got, it's basically a little box at the moment. When the motor is up, it sticks up through here. I just had it in the boat, took some measurements. I need 5-inch inside clearance from here up for that motor. And then there's a little bit of a, this piece can't be completely flat going across. There's a little bit of a lip that follows the curvature of the hull. So I measured that as well. That's some small writing in there, measured it. This is the piece that goes across the front. I had screwed up. I was going to have this be one piece with the other part down here, but cut it and I did something wrong. So split it up into 2. So this is going to be epoxied into place here. I use just a brad nailer to, I'll put some thickened epoxy down, get it in place, brad nail to hold it in place. So then once that's in place, that'll be held in place like that. Whoops, upside down. And you go like this. So anyway, it's going to be in place there. And these are the 4 sides. This one goes here. It's a little longer so that it fits on top of, so it fills in that spot there. Back here. And then the 2 sides. So again, I'll be putting the thickened epoxy in, bradding it, using the brad gun, holding it in place. And I still got to cut the piece for the top. It's coming from that. All right, this is roughly put together. I haven't assembled it yet. It's just standing together. So that's what the lid looks like. All right, we got a dry fit. Standing back, that's the extent of it. Don't have the hinge on, but it'll come up like that. And there she is. Also dry fitting these pieces in here for when this is up and we're sailing, keep water out. There'll be a bolt through that this slides across out of the way and then slides in. Got one on both sides. And there's this big piece that just pulls out, and there's going to be a metal piece that put this in first and then slide these over, and the metal piece will hold it in place. This is how far I've gotten. We got this frame up, I got the walls installed, the shelf in, and there's a buoyancy chamber right under here. Under here is a buoyancy chamber, and under here is a buoyancy chamber. I haven't cut access yet. I believe I'll do that from inside this locker. Cut access to that, just a observation port, not that it's going to be for storage or anything like that. And that would be for just to make sure it's not leaking and full of water and weighing me down. And then here's obviously the cutout. I got drain holes cut right through here, drain holes from here right straight through and out. I think I'm going to cut another drain hole right there because you can actually see a little bit of water stays right there, so I might put a shot right through there with a little extension on it so it drips straight down, because as it is right now it's going out here during and then running all along the bottom of the keel. So I don't want all that extra water going anywhere. So right now the motor's up out of the way. I had it on the stand right here, but I need to today. She is ready to start painting, so I'm going to I still have epoxy prime coat left, and I had to buy some more Perfection in Mediterranean white, Interlux Perfection in Mediterranean white, which I made a mistake in that they stopped making it. So I had taken so much time putting together this boat that in that time they stopped making the paint I need, and I just need a tiny bit more. So I did find one quart left on the shelf. I called around. Bacon Sales actually in Annapolis had it, and they shipped it out to me, so shout out to them. That was nice. And so anyway, today I just need to do a little bit more sanding and we'll get the primer on. Alright, first coat of primer. And I hit some of these odd spots as well. Okay, it's a hot, humid day, so I'm leaving the fans on. Sorry about that, but I wanted to show you the end result. I got all these areas in the cockpit redone. This all looks nice. And then we're done inside the... Alright, first coat of primer on the motor well lid, as well as those are the pieces that block the hole.